Why don't we? Yeah, why don't we get started and go over the revenue pages while we're waiting for Hadas and Kenya. So, all right. It is what? Monday, October 20th, 2025. It's shortly after 5 o'clock. This is bonus budget hearing number 8 for the 2026 City of Binghamton budget. I am the finance chair. I'm calling this committee of the whole to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have several pages and some capital lines to still close, but we're waiting on a couple of members. So, oh yes, sorry. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Absolutely. Councilmember Murray.
Present.
Councilmember Middleton is absent. Councilmember Dundon.
Present.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Present.
Councilmember Matavetsky is absent. Councilmember Rathmel.
Present.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Present.
Thank you.
So we have a couple members we're waiting on before we go to close some pages and capital items. And we haven't gone over the revenue lines in the budget yet. And in session, we've had some discussions and meetings about them here and there. And we've had some comment about them during the process, but I thought it'd be good for the comptroller to go over the budget line, the revenue lines, particularly in the general fund, which start on page 7 and go to 14. So if you want to open those and take a look. And who wants to?
She's going.
Rachel's going to take point. All right.
No. And I mean, do you want to go line by line or?
Yeah, sure. Might as well.
I mean, it's relatively easy. The first one is our real property tax levy. The next line, payments in lieu of taxes. That's
So we
basically
didn't
our
have,
pilots.
we have no tax increase in the budget. So the tax increase there is from natural kind of appreciation of value. Correct?
Yeah, it's a combination of things, but yeah, that's part of it.
Is it also due to a pilot falling off the?
No, well, you're talking about, what are we talking about? The tax increase he's talking about, or the pilots?
Does
So we have an increase in overall property taxes, but our pilots actually have gone down.
Right. That's because the pilots dropped off. I think 2 of them did.
and then let's gonna go past property taxes.
Pilots.
I had more of a request about that.
There is a pilot schedule on page 198. If you need to refer to that.
Would it be possible? And feel free to tell me that that's what I'm looking at, but would it be possible to get a breakdown of what they would be paying without what had they not been awarded a pilot, what each project, I don't mean like tonight, or I just mean in general. Is that countable or does it exist?
I think the closing documents have to identify how much is being abated. And I think it has to be reported in Paris too. So that does exist somewhere.
I've just consistently
Yeah,
for
most-
about a decade now been very curious but I'm not adept enough at like the real property to
Yeah.
my own.
I'm assuming we can get it from somewhere, either from the assessor or from Broome County.
Okay, thanks. I'll follow up, just you don't have to.
So there's two that ended. I think from my understanding, the 2 that ended were for the one on Shenango Street and one North Depot. And those, it wasn't just an expiration of the pilot, they kind of ended on bad terms. They weren't making payments? Is that
I don't know the
accurate?
history of those.
okay? Um. Yeah, so I thought there was one other one that had ended, but it was just an expiration. And maybe that was last year. And do you know, I think the Metro Center is brand new. Was it new this year? That pilot?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the pilots.
Okay.
Usually Terry, our assessor, takes care of those.
I'm seeing the Metro Center pilot on last year's budget.
Okay. Maybe it just, okay, I don't. Just bad memory then.
What happens, so with a project like One North Depot that didn't, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, that didn't quite go, like that didn't move forward? Or for a VE Binghamton, if it wasn't, sorry, not VE. Let me ask one question at a time. So if a project doesn't move forward as originally intended or proposed, what happens with the abatements that they weren't required to pay? Are they required to pay that back?
There's usually a clawback provision in the contracts, but I've never known one to actually be clawed back. It's usually just future abatements going forward aren't going to be given.
So a big piece of that is that the Broome, I think most, if not all of these pilots are through the Broome IDA. And so a lot of that gets negotiated between the IDA and whoever the pilot's with, whether it's going to be, trying to get the clawback on penalties right away or negotiating as part of future abatements and change how the payment schedule is going forward.
Any other pilot questions? At the moment, all right. And keep going.
Sure. Well, where were we? Yeah, I mean, some of these are, our sales tax is based on a very, very conservative number based on the past 5-6 years of tax sales tax. Hotel motel occupancy tax, that's new, and we're doing very well. You probably can tell more about that.
I have specific questions on certain lines.
Well, so when the budget run was done, we'd only collected 214,000 of the hotel motel tax. Have we gotten another installment in the books or?
Another quarter's in the books and there's 437 in there now. And both hotels are about 100,000 each that we've been getting for a quarter. So
we'll be over.
We'll be over.
Mhm.
So we're looking good on that. Okay.
Quick question on that one, Chuck. I know you responded to my email inquiry about about 25 grand is contractual to Mirabito and the rest is anticipated to cover like debt service.
It's
I-
supposed, it's supposed to. It's just a general revenue number. It doesn't have to specifically go towards debt service, but yes, we can
What
equate
is
it to that.
okay, what is the annual debt payment amount for Mirabito? I know we're paying down a 700 plus grand amount. I
Yeah,
think the breakdown,
I looked that up. I didn't bring that with me, but it's about $400,000 a year because we banned for it in 2023.
I think I already asked you this question.
Yes.
On record and we already talked about it.
Yes, but that's okay.
Thanks.
I did not send you the exact numbers, but I have those. And I was pretty close to those numbers when I went back
Okay.
and looked it up at 11
No,
o'clock
you're-
at night.
You're right. I have it in my notes. Thank you.
Adult use cannabis was another one that was kind of seemed to be under par when the budget was run, but
So that's only 2/4 of one establishment is what's in there now for that 64.
and now we have 3 open now?
I was gonna comment on that, but I don't know if it's 2 or 3 that we have
It's
now, but
2, right?
I know it's
Just
at least
Just
another.
Breathe, Cottonmouth, and is there a third one now? Just Breathe, Cottonmouth, and
I believe there's 3 that are approved. I don't know if all 3 are open and operating yet.
okay.
I wanted to ask about the increase for the utilities gross receipts tax. We last year we did not, well, 2024, we didn't hit the 500. No, maybe we did. I guess why are we anticipating a $200,000 increase on that?
So NICEAG is in here, according to my notes. So NICEAG, when they raise their rates, they give us a significant more amount of money. So it went from being around 100,000 a quarter to now it's like 175 a quarter. And if they raise rates again, that'll continue to increase.
So we're counting on the rates going up.
Oh, they're gonna go up. I'm
Well,
I'm hoping not, even if they
this
don't.
year, we might
rates or the
still make our
usage?
projections.
Because right now, we're at $478,000. And it's October.
Okay.
And we've got some high usage months coming, so. Parking meter revenues looks like it's going to be going up again. We seem to be getting more compliance out of folks with more enforcement. So because this is only the actual meter collection, not the fine collection, right? So these are
Which one?
people-
The parking meter
parking
fees?
yeah.
Mhm.
These are more people paying the metered fee regularly rather than risking fines.
Yes, we're at 92% collection right now. It's October.
And then the other side of that is the parking ticket fees. I think we had a full year of the 2 parking enforcement guys working. So if we did 525 for the year prior, why are we looking at 630?
Right.
Is there more?
Yeah, we're at
Efficiency.
a little over 450,000 right now. So if it goes up $60,000 each month, we're going to be over 500,000 easy this year, over the budget.
So it looks like this year you're gonna get closer to 630.
This year, if it goes up $60,000 in 2 months, that's
Okay.
$120,000 from where it is now. So that'd be about 550,000. That's for this year, and then next year it'll increase.
How, I guess how, in my mind, it would either stay the same or go down based on people being more compliant with their parking habits. So I don't see where the increase is gained based on our operations and our ticket fees staying the same.
Yeah.
If a vehicle doesn't comply with alternate street parking, those tickets actually go there as well. It's not just from parking in downtown.
Okay.
It's everywhere. It's like Yeah, alternate street parking. That's where we get most of our revenue at the end of the year during the snow time.
Okay.
Anything else revenue related? Anyone?
I mean, I think it's worth commenting on like the big movers, the other big movers, the interfund revenues. Just going up about $1 million. It's on page 11. The last one. So that's all just coming out of the general fund.
So there's a couple of different reasons for that. The joint sewer project that went on from 2015 to 2023. A lot of finances payroll essentially went to that project, and we were able to submit to EFC a reimbursement to reimburse all of our payroll through that project.
Meaning city employee time that was put in, like from the comptroller's office and engineering and stuff was put in. So we're basically getting reimbursed for time I don't know that we thought we'd ever get paid back for. But
There's a grant out there that we didn't use on the project. So basically we were allowed to submit my time, Chuck's time, Ron's time, Ed Crumb's time, a whole bunch of employees going back to 2015 to get this money back off of that grant.
And the other
It
big
was-
item was
it
the
came out to
money
enough-
from the refuse fund, right?
Say that again. I'm
There
sorry.
is some additional money from the refuse fund, but we reanalyzed the water sewer chargebacks, and there's more people in the departments now, so that increased a couple $100,000 as well.
All good?
But yeah, no, I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You got a large grant from all the labor that was like reimbursed that went into the sewage treatment plant. Did that go to our general fund or was that?
It has to go to the sewer fund, but then the sewer fund's gonna give it right back to the general fund because that's where the revenue, the expenses were over the years.
Okay. And this is, I mean, once it's a one-time thing, okay.
One-time thing.
Yeah. But it came out to $1 million or is it less than that? How much?
545,000.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
That's our portion because the Johnson City gets their portion.
Thank you.
So that was 545. The refuse fund support was 775,000, but it's not that anymore.
I think last year was around that. I didn't increase it very much, I don't think.
The overall income coming from the water sewer part.
Would say it's more from that, but there is some from refuse. Yep.
Okay. Water sewer and 111,000 Corporation Council water sewer. So 350 of that other 450,000 from water sewer fund. Anyone else on revenue pages? Questions? Nope. Going once?
If I have questions or comments related to the interfund transfer line on page 118, that's not relative to
Be on the
what? Like I know transfers are represented in do we close these pages? I'm just making sure we don't close it if it's relevant when I
118 doesn't have any interfund transfers. Are you talking about 119?
let me check.
Because the ones on 119, those are the interfund transfers to the capital fund that we discussed. It's just the yearly ones that we do for IT, physical agent fees, etc.
So 118,
There's
Inter-
no budgeted.
There's no
ones
budgeted
for-
amounts.
There's ones from, it has what was done this year and what's done in 2024, but for this year, for the proposed budget, they're both listed at 0.
okay.
Do you recall what that was used for in the past? I mean, one of them is an ARPA line.
Is one of it. The other part is we were funding the golf course, possibly another fund as well, but that's where that would go if we felt like we needed to fund the other funds.
So this out of fund, which we're not doing this year.
Could I frame my question just because I'm not, again, first time doing the budget, not totally sure between a couple of the different funds. I know the goal and where I'm hoping we can get to, but to frame the question and go ahead and tell me if this isn't relevant right now and we can hold off for later discussion. But again, one of our priorities very much has been to identify 216,000 so that we can fund the 2 med cars for the fire department. And in searching through, and it's my understanding, and Chair Kavanaugh, this would go back to one of the conversations that we had last week. It's my understanding that it would be possible to move, so I'll talk about a couple of different lines here, but that it would be possible to move 100,000 from the insurance fund to the inter-fund transfer line in order to direct it to the fire department's equipment line for the med cars. And I would say either Chair Kavanaugh or Council Chuck, Rachel, certainly, could you advise regarding how we could accomplish that?
I know that last year we had troubles moving money between the insurance fund and the general fund because there's chargebacks. And when you put something in from the M fund into a contingency, it has to be used within the M fund and it can't go to the general fund. And so I might have to ask Bob how to do that. I'm not sure.
So the goal would be to okay, so the goal would be to have 100,000 from the M fund back into general fund to use on another thing.
So the movement, as far as I understood it, which again is limited and why I'm framing the question, would be movement from insurance fund to the interfund transfer line in order, yes, to eventually land it in the fire department's equipment line to partially support the med cars.
All right, so to avoid the transfer headache. To avoid
the what?
To avoid the headache of trying to transfer out of the M fund without a contingency line. I would, how do we do this? Okay. I would propose to do this. To move $100,000 from Law's personal services into the contingency fund and the general fund. That creates your $100,000. And then move $100,000 out of legal services in the M fund into personnel services in the M fund. And Corporation Council can continue to use that as they've used it in past years. So you have effectively decreased the insurance fund budget by 100,000, or it balances the insurance fund without taking any money out of it. Being aware that then we will probably need to go find money for outside counsel next year.
So technically, there is an interfund transfer expense line in the M fund. And you could ultimately put the 200,000 there, and then we do an entry to actually move that money into the capital fund or the general fund. You'd have to take it from another expense line within the M fund.
I'm going to pose this question to Bob. If we do that, though, the budget wouldn't be balanced in interfund transfers because you wouldn't have a revenue offset for that.
Unless we did it to the capital fund because it's capital equipment.
Correct. I mean, I think we probably want it to go to capital anyway. It doesn't make sense to put it into the general fund. I don't think we fund any vehicles typically through the general fund.
Is there
We
a,
can move it to capital later.
correct,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I don't see a contingency in the M fund.
There's not. We
There's
ran into
not.
this last year.
Oh, and I remember there was something about
Yes.
last year.
Yeah, so most of our all the other funds, like the water fund, sewer fund, the general fund, they all have their own contingency lines. Where basically we budget some amount of money into contingency. And then also when you reduce budget lines, it goes into contingency and it becomes sort of like a pool to use for different things that come up. The insurance fund doesn't have it because the insurance fund is sort of like the ultimate contingency fund for the city. Like the insurance fund is there to backstop the city as being self-insured. So moving it to like an unallocated contingency line within insurance would sort of be an oxymoron, which is why it doesn't exist.
Okay, so the contingency, and I should have written down this page. So the contingency account on 52 that currently has 25,000. Where does that come into? I understood that line to be if we defund and move to that, that's how we're covering a like an internal transfer that's being proposed. Is that not relative here in any, not necessarily to the insurance fund and interfund transfer line, but in general?
Example, last year, we moved money in the water fund to the water contingency, thinking we could use it in the general fund, but it had to stay within the water fund. That's where my brain went.
Yeah, so like each fund has contingency lines with the exception of insurance. So like the general fund, this is the contingency line for the general fund. And then the water and sewer and parking, I believe, all have their own contingency lines.
Mhm.
So like if you defunded something within the parking ramp fund, it doesn't go to the general fund contingency, it goes to the parking ramp contingency.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. So initially, so Robert, Chair Kavanaugh,
It's fine.
your alternative,
Right.
Could-
So
I'm not sure I
Right.
followed.
if you go to 193,
Yep.
we would trim our outside counsel budget, which is legal services, by $100,000, which we will probably have to figure out come next year if we go over 550 in that case. But that's a problem for another day. And put $100,000 back in the personnel services line, which Corporation Counsel has up till this coming budget used as part of their salary. So that essentially we're making them do that again. Pay part of their salaries out of the insurance fund line. Okay? So that effectively frees up $100,000 in the law budget, which you can then move to contingency
Yeah,
to do with what we will whenever.
okay.
So it has the effect of freeing up $100,000
Mhm.
in the normal budget without having to deal with trying to transfer out of the M fund into the general fund.
Does
Does that make,
it make sense to me? Is that an option?
So if you're gonna cut the law personal services by 100 grand, you would need to cut probably 2 positions.
but we're not cutting them. You're just paying yourself out of being M fund as you used to do.
They're going back to the percentages that we used to use in 2024. We did not use the percentages in 2025 because of the budget issue that we had last year. But now we don't have the salaries in the M fund, so we didn't use that in our percentages for the unallocated insurance and everything like that.
Mr. Kavanaugh, instead of moving in that way,
I'm open to suggestions.
would you be open to just moving it instead of to the personnel services to the interfund transfers line? And it would say interfund transfer to capital.
Directly
To-
from the M fund?
Yep.
That's where we started.
Yeah.
That was my initial.
So
But
we
we
would
don't-
be adding to the interfund transfer and taking it from the other M fund lines?
If
You don't
you're
have an
o-
interfund transfer line to the capital in the M fund. That's a general fund can transfer. The capital transfer is a 9950 transfer to capital. There is not one in the M fund.
Oh,
I am now, okay, so that was a response to Rachel, not to Chair Kavanaugh's alternative.
It was for
Okay.
everybody's edification.
Sure, no, I hear you. Okay, so where are we at with the Chair Kavanaugh's idea around?
Wait,
what
so
he
the
had.
one that's in here now on 196. Where is that going?
That's going to the general fund.
it's going to the
Actually,
water.
sorry, it's going to the water fund.
Or we can add 100,000 of it to it, can we not?
That would,
It
Good.
doesn't have to go to the water fund.
Usually capital transfers have their own line and they're called their dot or whatever X M 9950, A 9950. If you look in the A 9950 line, the general fund transfers, the regular transfers are on page 118, but on 119, those are the A 9950s that are specific to transfer to capital.
Yeah, but we can do it. We can transfer the capital out of the general fund. I'm just interested in getting $100,000 back into the general fund at the moment.
I defer.
I'm asking, all right, so why can M 9901 59,000 only go to the water fund?
It's a transfer in general, but if you want to transfer to the capital fund, it's a separate account code.
It's a specific account code.
Right, but I just need to get the 100,000 in the general fund, then we can go general fund to capital fund. If we so choose, correct?
Because we already have a general fund, interfund transfer in the general fund
To the capital fund.
to the capital.
So
Yes.
if you were to transfer it to the general fund, we'd have to increase those revenues.
It's going to go into contingency.
But so interfund transfers have to balance.
The
though,
interfund
but-
transfers have to balance. We can't just add a
I-
transfer and not have a revenue portion of it somewhere.
I think if we were put it in a budget where it wasn't balanced, we might get an error when we go to put
Right.
it in OSC's
So
website.
we're back to my original idea.
Right.
Yeah, which I'm not a fan of because of how complicated it would
It is.
be. Maybe there is a way, I don't know.
Thinking.
So
So where are we at with the first alternative that Chair Kavanaugh represented?
it only creates a headache for you because of benefits. Yes?
Not necessarily. If it's in personal services, how would you take it out? How would we get extra expenditures in the general fund? for the
Because I'm
cut?
gonna cut the general fund personnel services by 100,000 and move it to contingency.
Oh, we're
but
just
so-
moving it.
Yeah. Because it's been funded out of the
Mhm.
M fund
Yep.
up until now.
Yes.
So I'm basically restoring that, which will free up $100,000 in general fund personnel services line, which can then move to contingency, and then we could do with whatever from contingency.
Might be easier if we did 2 positions in the general fund. Oh, no. I'm just thinking about the chargebacks.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for earlier, charge backs.
Our chargebacks are based on the salaries being paid out of the general fund, 100%, so that might require a lot of adjusting. Maybe, but you're doing a one-to-one, I don't know.
I mean, how's it gone up till right now? So what portions of who gets paid out of the M fund now?
No one's getting paid out of the M fund now. It's all the general fund, but if we were to move to.
No, there's $102,000 expended so far this year out of the M fund.
That's this year.
Sorry, it's
That's what I'm
for
saying.
26.
You know, I'm saying up
changed
till now, how is this working? Can we not just make it continue to work this way?
it. I had to do funny percentages, so I wouldn't be able to know them off the top of my head, but there is a handful. I was just thinking in my head, if we moved 2 positions that are around 100,000 from the general fund, like took them out of the general fund and put them in the insurance fund. That might be the easiest way to do it. I don't know if we can do a round number of 100,000. Because we still have to show.
What would the wiggle room, I mean, the kind of overall potential option? What would the wiggle room amount need to be if it can't be an even
You could pick
100,000?
1 or 2 positions to move from the general fund to the insurance fund. But the insurance fund budget won't be balanced. Oh, because we're going to take it from legal services.
So if I'm understanding right, we're gonna move 100 from legal services within the M fund to personal services. And then cut the law personnel budget by 100. Right,
And I know
And-
one of the attorneys makes 92,000, so you could take an attorney and a paralegal and make it more than 100,000, but you would have to do a whole position because of the percentages. That was close to impossible last year.
yeah, that's sort of the challenge is that previously the risk management paralegal was split between the two. I think the first assistant was split between the two. I don't know if there were any others. Those are the 2 that I know of. And you can't put all of one of those positions into the insurance fund, I don't think, because the work for both positions gets split between work for the general fund and work for the risk
Right.
management fund, which is why you had the funny percentages to begin with. Is because you couldn't do 100% within the insurance fund. It had to be a percentage.
So you were representing that potentially taking two positions would be easier. But I don't know that I have clarity on whether or not the 100, like the movement, the way that Chair Kavanaugh represented it is doable or not. Is it doable but difficult?
We did 65,000 out of first assistant corp counsel and 35 out of legal. I mean, you can do whatever percentage you want. We're just moving the top line amount.
Yes. So some people use the budget for what their approved salary is, so that's why we like to show the salary and the percentage,
But you can put it in the
like
final,
minus 65,000 to M fund or something like
Something
that.
like
So
that.
it's
yes.
obvious. Okay. All right. Possible.
So if that lands us at 100,000. And if we also have, so this is where I'm bouncing around and tell me if I can't bounce around, I guess. But we currently have 25,000 in the contingency account. And one of the options, which would again impact the law budget, would be to defund the second new assistant corporation counsel position and send that to contingency. So that's 92 plus 25 in contingency gets us 117.
I believe it's less than 25.5 in
We
contingency.
moved something out, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes, for the engineering
Do,
budget.
do we know what it is? Because
We
it
can-
says 25 in the budget.
It
We,
was,
we made a movement though we made a small move.
it was a salary.
Small how? Like 4,000? Because I think we have an idea for that.
So I see what you're saying. All right. So personally, depends how everyone, and we're gonna have to vote on this either way. Personally, I would like to leave all of the positions in the budget. But I would support defunding one of them with the expectation that we might not be able to hire two of them. And if we have a second candidate, we would revisit how to fund that second position. I'm trying to,
So the second, my understanding, so it wouldn't, I mean, the preference would be to not touch the two additional positions relative to code. So the new attorney, the prosecutor, excuse me, as well as the paralegal that were intended to round out and enhance the work that's already being done by the corp counsel office in housing court. But that second new assistant corporation counsel position, if I can revisit my notes, so represented, it's performing a function that while at times strains staff capacity, I mean, heard there is still currently being managed effectively by the law office. So that's why I separated it into specifically the new second assistant corporation counsel at the 92,000, which may still, I'm not sure I exactly followed what you were saying, Robert, but
I think
if
what
we're
he-
saying the same thing, then
I think the way he would do it is if we put one unfunded, then you're as a council approving the new position. And then if we actually can hire two people for that title next year, we would revisit getting funding from somewhere else and do a budget amendment if that person gets hired. But by putting the two in there and one unfund, you're essentially approving that position.
That-
yeah, I'm just looking to use that 92,000, not to I mean, so that works if it works.
I mean, I think it gives the flexibility that you're seeking in the budget, and it gives a flexibility in the law department to try and become fully staffed. It's slightly kicking the can down the road as far as funding that position, but
I do think the
Given the
unused
other-
salaries would be able to. I
Other
think in there, we'd
vacancies.
be able to find it if it did get filled. I don't think it would be
that
an
my
issue.
Okay.
Right,
So
and,
have,
and
belief
it
too.
may end up being moot because we do have. We did pass something, so it's possible these med cars are bought before the year starts.
That
Right.
also becomes moot. That could also become moot.
Right,
But
so-
it could be,
So-
but this way we will have 200,000-ish in contingency to do that with, or to have for other purposes in the coming year.
so did we just outline our option for landing at the 216?
It
That was our
would be
committed
s-
priority.
Lightly, the
Did we
one-
figure out what that contingency?
Yeah, 17,736.
Oh. So, I mean, there's,
It's about 210,000. So close enough for government work.
I mean, I think we haven't closed one particular page in BPD's budget where we could find, there are 2 pages open, correct? In BPD's budget, but I think,
6263 is open.
yep, I think there's a line that we could discuss pulling that from.
Okay. Do you want me to try and make these motions? Okay,
That feels smarter than me trying to.
all right, I'll make the motion and then we'll see if we have a second, then we can discuss the whole thing. Or do I just discuss? All right,
Let's discuss it first.
it's going to be confusing if we do it during the motion, so I'm open to discussion on, this is certainly not Robert's Rules of Order, but this Robert's Rules of Order. I'm open to discussion on Councilwoman Rathmell's kind of package of movements before I actually make them.
I'll say my alternative that I was working on right now, to that would be like, and I don't even, now that I'm double thinking, be like, we do 2 less cruisers, 1 less light duty truck, and reduce the parks money that is going to the golf course by like 30 grand, and then we can also get to 216. But I'm more on board with the Councilmember Rathmell plan.
Bless you.
I got to sneeze. Anything else? Okay, I will start to make these motions. Motion to move $92,000 from A1420.51000 to contingency, defunding 1 assistant corporation counsel position, however, keeping the position in the budget for hiring.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Councilmember Rathmell,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Middleton, Councilmember Murray, Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Okay, I would like to motion to move $65,000 from A1420.51000 from First Assistant Corporation Counsel to contingency.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? None. Will the clerk take the roll, please?
So Councilmember Rathmell,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray. Aye. Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
I would like to motion to move $35,000 from line A1420.51000 from the risk assistant / paralegal to contingency.
I'll second. At the same time.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. There's 7-0.
I'd like to motion to close page 28 and 29.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? None. Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Middleton. Councilmember Murray. Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. There's 7-0.
You. I'd like to turn to page 193 and make a motion to move $100,000 from line M1910.54430 legal services to line M1910.51000 personnel services.
Second.
Motion second and discussion on the motion. And this to be split up into positions, however, the comptroller's office sees fit. So motion seconded, no discussion. Will the clerk take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel.
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. There's 7-0.
I would like to motion to close pages 191 to 211.
I'll second. Do you have to do another movement in the M fund?
We did that directly to personnel services.
I think I missed the account code it was coming from. It's legal services. right?
It's coming from M1910.54430 and
Okay,
going
yeah.
to M1910.51000.
Thank you.
So I'd like to motion to close pages 191 to 211 as amended.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? None. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss. Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. There's 7-0.
Okay. All right, what's left? Pages 62 and 63.
So,
We'll have 2 pages of the police budget open, 62 and 63. And people have anything they want to discuss about those pages?
yep, so the went back and reviewed Clearview AI over the weekend, and in my mind, I don't think we should be using this technology. So I would like to make a motion to, actually, we can just have it open for discussion. But I don't know, we were all there for the conversation on our last budget hearing, so actually just gonna make a motion to it's defunded. Decrease, yeah, decrease and move to contingency A3120.54620 by $4,000.
I'll second.
And
All right, it's going to move to contingency A1990 55000. Yes?
yes,
Okay.
and then we can't really identify any of the subcategories, right?
No, you can't line item what you're taking it from. You can take it off the top. And then it's up to the department to determine how they're gonna use those funds.
Okay.
Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay.
I am, so it's technology that we're currently using. So, removing this from the budget, how would that impact kind of the process now, I guess is what I'm curious about. I mean, I understand that there's concerns, but I also want to like really understand how this decision impacts either workload or ability to be able to strengthen and or have leads to follow up on. And I think that the thing that helped my concerns from the last conversation was that we were not pursuing and or only using this technology to move forward with whether it was with like legal action, right? It felt as though it would remove a burden of like manual work and or expedite the process of identifying folks. So I guess I'm curious to hear more about concerns so that I could consider that in the decision.
I would say for me, the difference between the representation of how the software is being used, which it is defined as surveillance software. And so although that was a description that John pushed back on, that's very much the use of it. And I think the heightened concern for me is certainly one, the controversy around its use, which we discussed at length. The contract federally that ICE has with Clearview AI to pursue very similar practices in identifying individuals, and the difference between the use as it's represented, but the capacity that it actually has. For me, without knowing the parameters of a contract or understanding the full use in relation to all of it, that we have addressed all of the controversial is the word that is represented in any kind of article that you read or discussion that we had. There's the potential for use is there, and that is my primary concern. I understand that from a city perspective. I mean, if we incorporate the ICE relationship, I mean, the federal, it's not just the federal climate, it's that we have a local sheriff who has committed to cooperating with ICE. I understand that BPD does not have that relationship, but again, the capacity that is there is a primary concern for me. So the allowable, the actual opportunity for use compared to how it is represented doesn't feel like a clear enough line for me to be comfortable with it.
Are there any plans in the future to get clarification on that? And how do we set up like parameters? Is that something that we look or hope to like explore or clarify?
I think clarification within the contract, certainly, but at the same time, for me, in terms of our counties, enthusiastic cooperation with ICE, to me, that's gonna be a concern in perpetuity until that 287G relationship is severed. So it's too close for comfort for me, because even when, and I believe it was the mayor's office that represented no interest in cooperating with ICE, that doesn't mean that there's a policy in place that he introduced to stricter prohibit that. And without that parameter, I don't feel like we can ensure there's no potential leak or overlap.
Sorry, just a few things. What was the use for the AI? What are they using it for to track down? Because I wasn't here when we had the meeting last time.
The way I interpreted it is that instead of them doing Google image searches and kind of manually trying to find people based on pictures, they're using an automated software to look for leads. And they were very clear that it's not, and our attorney here was very clear that you cannot use just the fact that you look like a picture as a way to proceed forward. It has to be a piece of a larger picture.
Yeah. So,
So basically like Google image search is how I understood it.
so to me, I have two opinions on that. First, I do understand why people might be against it because even there's the data that's there, sometimes people use it and they do other things with it. So I do understand that. Why it might be a problem to some people because you never know what they're going to do with the data. However, I am kind of worried because as like you guys know, my daughter got hit by a car recently and it was a hit and run. And they did use cameras like to kind of get the license plate to catch the person really quick. So I mean, like I understand like both sides of it. I just don't want something like what happened to my daughter. And if we didn't have those license plate readers, the person probably could still be out there. Not saying that would happen, or they wouldn't, I'm not sure if they would have caught that person in a right amount of time if we didn't have those license plate readers. I'm not sure if there's a way that we can, probably not now, kind of amend it so that way it's used for that purpose. You know, we don't know what the purpose is, but I just think that leaving it like kind of opens it up to like, I honestly just, this is just my mother hat. I'm worried about if something like that happens again, like, how are we going to figure that out? Or like if it's something that's worse, you know, than
Yeah,
a hit and
you're-
run, like how do we figure that out without giving the
Yeah,
data?
I mean, your mother had is absolutely fair and valid to bring up, but Clearview AI is not a license plate reader that functions in that capacity. It's specifically an internet scraping software used for surveillance and as represented, yes, in determining with probable cause. I mean, there are multiple uses for it, but there's so much controversy around it because of how it can be used. And again, the capacity for its potential use when we don't have city policies that are restricting, it is my concern in my understanding of the brief discussion that we had with John Ryan.
The acting
Well,
chief,
I was just gonna like clarify and just, I think maybe help a little bit with the scenario that Councilwoman Middleton provided. So for instance, if they had an image of the gentleman that was driving the car and no one could identify it, I would, from what I understand how this technology could be used, then they would probably enter that image into that database and it would look for similar images of that person to help identify them. Is that, do I have a clear understanding of how that
That's-
would work? So it's
that
not like
works.
the license plate reader, but if they had a picture of the person, right? And let's say no one knew who that was, then this, the Clearview AI has like images of individuals that they take from all over the web and house it in however they house it. And then you would be able to match images to it.
Right, so
kind of similar.
by removing Clearview AI, it wouldn't at all impact the license plate reading, the way that the person who hit your daughter was identified and tracked down. So that capacity remains and the cameras are all over the city and continue to increase.
If
I
I can
actually have a
just,
question for Corp Council. So if we decrease this 4,000, but in this budget line, they have 4,000 that they can allocate to Clearview, they can still hire Clearview no matter if we take this 4,000 or not, correct?
Correct. So because it falls underneath the $5,000 threshold, it would go to Board of Contract and Supply. I believe that's the threshold for this kind of contract for this.
So I think what's
Now-
more meaningful is to address more guidelines on how it could be used versus trying to remove the funds.
and they
Am I?
explained a bit, but again, we didn't receive like a documented policy or any of that, but the acting chief mentioned, I believe it was there's only 2 officers that are allowed access to use it. And they're investigators, they're like I presume detectives, right? They're very kind of specific people. It is not a generally used software by everyone on the police force. Again, representing what he said, was not provided any sort of policy or protocol on this. I'm not reflecting additional information beyond what I internalized during the meeting.
So, if I can just chime in with just strictly numbers on the paper. It doesn't look like they're going to hit their adjusted budget for this year. I don't think they hit their budget in 2024. There's a $4,000 unforeseen repairs and expenses lumped in this already. So if the purpose is to find a little more money to put in contingency, this probably has wiggle room in it, no matter how you feel about Clearview AI. But symbolically, taking that $4,000 might make a point, and I think it's a good jumping off spot for further policy discussions council might want to have in the future around software like this, which we should have. So.
Sorry, just because I was flipping pages. So that line that you mentioned is somewhere in here?
Yep.
So the motion would still go forward as it was introduced, but the idea would be there's wiggle room at that $4,000 amount.
So all we
And we-
can, yeah, all we can do
Yeah.
is remove money from the
Right.
bold line. So
Right,
it's up to them how they choose to spend it.
okay. And which line did you say?
It's the same line. It's the A3120.
No, I know, which sorry.
Oh, sorry.
sub
It's if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like the eighth thing down, unforeseen repairs and expenses, which also happens to
Unforeseen
be,
repair, thank you.
also happens to
Okay.
be $4,000.
That makes sense to me. So it's still the same motion. It's their discretion what they remove, but this gives us a chance to have continued conversation without necessarily
We have
significantly
signaled something, and we have
impacting.
also moved the money that you want to
Okay.
move. So,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
no, that's something that we,
Okay, then my second stands.
all right. I don't remember who made the motion.
Nate did.
Nate made the motion.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
All right, Councilmember Hodgson, motion seconded by Councilman Rathmel. Any more discussion on that?
Um,
Oh, all right, wait a second for Carla. All right,
Yeah,
Councilman, Wright,
I was gonna say, I'm still open to more thoughts, because I'm not sure how I'm gonna vote, and they're gonna call on me second, so I may just sit for a bit.
all right, well, we have a minute to think. Actually, not too bad.
So since you did point out the fact that the unforeseen repairs expenses, I presume, would not be related to any grants. I guess I wasn't sure what or how much of this is grant, but grant funded or whatnot, but I guess since that unforeseen repairs expenses is in there, that would not be, whereas some of these individual lines might be.
I'm just saying, I think there's probably a little wiggle room in that line overall. Like I don't know that we necessarily spend $1,000 on drone repair every year, but it's there in case.
Are folks interested in while we're still on I mean, I have contacts to share for the for the other page that I don't think is going to result in any kind of motion or movement.
The capital lines we have open, you mean? 62?
No, the 62.
62, 63. All right, we'll put a pin in our motion for the moment. Oh.
just make a decision when I'll see how I feel when it gets.
Okay. Well, we were waiting for
We're waiting for,
Councilwoman Murray.
it's just I was able to connect with Executive Garner on the mental health crisis response. So I mean, I'm happy to share that context while we're waiting. Or,
Yeah, no, the
Yeah?
MS thing.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
okay, so I spoke directly with Executive Garner. And I'll just read right from my notes. The 100,000 is intended to enhance the response capacity of the mobile crisis service once Broome County Mental Health Department awards the contract. The RFP that the county issued in August is only enough funding to staff about 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for what is supposed to be a county-wide mental health crisis response. So since the city will likely require the most service, that 100,000 is intended to add quote shifts where gaps are otherwise identified when they get to discussing coverage and implementation. I did also raise the concern with Executive Garner regarding that I raised with John regarding the use of 911 for accessing the service or requiring law enforcement contact when crisis support is needed. And Jason said Executive Garner said he would make sure that's included in protocol discussions as the program is being developed. He wasn't sure who's identified as a representative from the city and being involved in those collaborative conversations for developing protocol. But I mean, I'm happy to keep it on my radar to stay in touch as the rollout is outlined to report back. And then, of course, if more than 4,000 is going to be moved, transferred, et cetera, it still comes to this council.
Well, but this would involve a contract, right, with the
Correct.
county. That's going to
Yes.
be a substantial amount, right?
Yeah, he didn't represent the total amount of the RFP and I couldn't find it anywhere, but he did say that they have a capacity gap. So that's it.
All right, so back to our regularly scheduled programming. We have a motion and second, and we had discussion on moving $4,000
Yeah.
from,
And I think in terms of how I'm leaning towards voting right now, thinking about it as the repair, oh, no, I lost the page. The other $4,000 line, I think is helpful in terms of the way I was conceptualizing budget last year in terms of not having the fluff in the lines and having that in contingency for contingency. So
Right.
if there are necessary repairs, we have it in the contingency to spend.
I agree. Any other discussion? Okay, so the motion second and now discussion to move 4,000 from A 3120-54620 to contingency A 1990 55,000. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky. Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. It is 7-0.
Any other motions on pages 62 and 63? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to close as amended.
I'll motion to close page 62 and 63 as amended.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second?
Okay.
Second? Great. Any discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
All right, page 52, contingency. Did we ever open that? All right, just for completeness sake, page 25, tax acquired property has no items on it. So
The motion to close. page
25, all right,
25.
second, all in favor? Actually, clerk, take the roll, and might as well do it properly. Yeah.
Councilmember Rathmel.
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton is absent. I heard an aye from the stairwell. There she is, putting it on the record. Fantastic. Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Okay, page 52 is the contingency that we've just amended a bunch. So can I get a motion to close page 52 as amended?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Will the clerk take the roll?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So do we need it open if we intend to send anything to the BFD budget? Like the whole point of putting money in that was so that we could send it to the Met
That-
cars? How do we?
Because that's a capital item. So we'll need an RL to fund the
Okay.
capital line, I think. Yeah. I mean, I would just leave it in contingency for now, and a normal RL will let us
Okay,
move it
okay,
as a capital expense.
got it. I think.
Are all these lines new, most of them? Did they get? I only remember there being one contingency line previously. Now did that get broken out?
I don't remember. CR?
I hit a button that I wasn't supposed to, and it brought in a lot of accounts that haven't been used in years, and that's quite possibly why there is a bunch of zeros in here.
I love that you shared that. Thank you for your
You're welcome.
transparency.
It actually added 15 pages to the budget that I had to go in and delete.
It just
so-
feels very human.
I know.
And I appreciate that being very often human myself.
Rachel, good news. It looks like these were in the budget last year.
Oh, it wasn't that one.
Turns out you didn't have to
I didn't
admit.
have to confess, yes.
Okay, so just so I had the language correct, we're the funds to ensure we are able to keep our commitment, but we need an RL tax. Great.
They're
thanks.
sitting there
Thanks.
for council to use.
Okay. Did we make a motion? Where are we at? Did we second? I'll second. Okay.
I think we were in
well,
discussion.
Mhm.
So we had a motion second. We've now discussed it is anyone else want to discuss closing 52 as amended? Nope. Clerk, take the roll, please.
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. 7-0.
Okay. Now, page 202 and 203, we have some open capital items. Specifically, we left I believe the fire items open and the public works items open.
I'll make a motion to close Public Works on 202.
I'll second.
Motioned and seconded. Any discussion? Get a new street sweeper, I guess. All right. Would the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
And that leaves the fire items, the Quint fire truck and 2 utility trucks, EMS 21 and utility 21. Does that make sense? I don't know if those are the actual car numbers. That might just be scribbles. Anyway,
Motion.
A motion to close.
motion to close. Is there a second?
Fine.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Murray, Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Corporation Council. By your count, are we done?
Well, I've seen Rachel has got something.
Is the fee schedule all closed by individual department, or does it have to be
We
closed? all at
closed
once?
it as we went along, but we can do the whole thing as a group just for pants and suspender stake. What? Oh, you want Chuck? No.
I just closed all the pages all at once. For the fee schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will make the motion to close the Appendix C City Fee Schedule starting on 204 and going to we have a lot of fees, 211.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion on closing the fees? Oh, wait a minute, I have discussion.
Yeah.
As amended, 'cause I think we
Yeah,
amended fees.
I have discussion. I withdraw my motion. I've had passionate constituents come to me about the golf fee. I would like to motion to change the golf fee for City of Binghamton residents.
So I believe you're gonna have to
Reopen it?
reopen.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just-
make that motion. Just need the page.
Was the fact that city residents don't get a discount on the season
Yes.
pass we heard
Yes.
about?
Yes.
It didn't make much sense.
All right. I would like to motion to reopen the golf course fees on page 211.
Second,
Second, will the clerk, is there any discussion about reopening the golf fees? I think you know what I'm going to propose. Will the clerk take the roll to reopen, please?
Councilmember Rathmel. Aye. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
I would like to motion to add a discount for annual pass holder single adult of in honor of Binghamton being founded in 1867, I would like to propose a $67 discount to the adult annual pass holder for residents of the city of Binghamton.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion?
Can I have discussion or no?
Yes, sure, why not?
The logistics of verifying if they're city residents or not could get tricky, so,
I'm willing to bet that Chris Strand can figure it out.
oh,
It's less than 200 people. I think a ID check will be all right. We might, a couple of town of Dickinson people might sneak in. Yeah. Yeah. I hope they're honest over in the town of Dickens. But yes, I appreciate that. And we can work with him to maybe have some sort of secondary thing or map or yeah. Anyway,
$67.
yes, in honor of Binghamton being founded in 1867. We're increasing the whole thing 80. So those people are getting a $67 break off to 80, essentially increase. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Rathmel. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. 7-0.
Okay. Now I would like to motion to close the fee schedule as amended on pages 204 to 211.
Second,
Any discussion? Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Councilmember Rathmel. Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Middleton. Councilmember Murray.
Aye.
Chair Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Thank you. 7-0.
I have everything.
Chuck has his jacket on.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in the room, particularly our comptroller and deputy comptroller, thank you for your very hard work on the budget over these last months. Thanks to all the department heads that have come in over the last few weeks and presented. Thanks everyone for the putting up the late nights and the getting through these hundreds of pages of budget. I hope we can move to a smooth passage of the budget on Wednesday after the public hearing. And a note to everyone that's all half a dozen people that are probably watching, that we do have a public hearing on the budget on Wednesday. If anyone wants to come in and discuss any of the finer points of it with us, we're here for that. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to close this budget hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
Councilman Dunstan, seconded by several people. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.